Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the Early Prelim Podcast. I'm your boy Fenyo, and we're here to talk about the UFC. We didn't have an event last week. We haven't. We have an event now, but before going into some fight announcements and the preview for UFC fans, wanted to just give a shout out to my video about there. Oh, I need to use this hand. Just go check out my video about the problem with jank. It's a very short video where I discuss the importance of technique, why some fighters are so wonky, so janky, and how that affects the MMA meta right now. So go check that out. Give it some love, comment, like all that kind of stuff. So before getting into the preview of this weekend event, why don't we get into some fight announcements? I actually forgot about adding the pictures to the slideshow here. So excuse me for a second here, and we'll go very quickly here. And now we're ready. Okay. So first of all, this is like very short notice. We have Fares Siam was supposed to fight Caio Fernandez, but in short notice, we have Harry Hardwick filling in. So Hardwick gets to the UFC, man, this Saturday. So we'll be talking about that fight later. Um, what else do we have? We have a lot of big announcements here. This one is big. This will be the final fight of the year because this will be the main event of the last event of the year. On December, Manel Cap takes on Brandon Royval. Big stakes at flyweight here. Cap probably looking for a title shot if he wins here. And Royval if he wins. And they do the Joshua Van versus Pantoja fight. And Van wins. Like if both guys win, we might get a rematch of that fantastic fight of the year contender between Brandon Royval and Joshua Van. So yeah, they're very big fight here in the flyweight division. What else we have? Um, Last week I reported that Rofont was supposed to fight Raul Rosas in UFC Noche. Raul Rosas is out and David Martinez is stepping in. So Martinez was already scheduled to fight in this card, but he's getting the move up for the co-main event to fight Rob Font here. Interesting fight. A bit of a similar dynamic I feel to the fight that Rob Font had with Matsumoto. Martinez is a bit of a karate stylist. Um, but I think if he doesn't engage in the pocket with Font, he might have a decent shot at this. So it might be an interesting fight. Kind of an unfair fight for Font like this. A win here doesn't do much for him at all. Even a win over Rosas would do more for him. So I feel it's kind of like rough matchmaking, but at the same time, like they gotta save the event. What else do we have? This one is big. Usman Nurmagomedov is fighting Mario Bautista at UFC 321 on October. Huge fight. Winner here probably looking for a title shot. Obviously, Umar had that very close fight against Merab. Mario Bautista coming off big wins against Jose Aldo, one we all hated, but then he looked fantastic in his win against Pachi Mix, and I feel like that's a lot more representative of who Mario Bautista is as a fighter, right? So yeah, this one is very interesting because Bautista is like long. He's a well-rounded striker that can compete everywhere, and he's a very good wrestler. So not an easy fight for Umar at all, man. Like this fight a lot. Okay, we have news here. So we finally have confirmation for another fight that will make the strawweight title vacant. So we have Birna Jandirova against Mackenzie Dern at UFC 321. This is for the strawweight championship, undisputed. So Birna finally gets her title shot. I've been campaigning for this for a long time. I think she deserved it more than Suarez, to be quite honest. And Dern, not quite sure she's like the rightful contender, but at the same time, like she has a win over Birna, and Birna has been beating like everyone else. So um, this is a rematch, by the way. So as I mentioned, Mackenzie Dern won the first one. Very very close fight. I think you could score that like either way, but I think like over 5 rounds. I like Birna's chances here. Um, Obviously, Dern probably like the striking advantage, especially when it comes to like mounting offense with the power and shit. But I feel like Birna has transformed into a better wrestler. Birna is safer, better selection of tactics on the feet. Um, and I feel like Birna one of the few girls in the division that can like stay safe on top of Mackenzie Dern. Something that Amanda Rivas was not able to do in the rematch and was able to do the first time around against Mackenzie Dern. But I feel like a lot of us agree that Amanda Rivas has gone under some regression. Birna, on the other hand, has gotten a lot better, man. I'm kind of excited about this. I really wish Birna wins here. I'm not gonna hide my preferences here. I think Birna is a cooler fighter than Mackenzie Dern. I think she has been focusing in what's more important. Has been putting a more coherent game. She has gotten like very very good wins against opposition that Dern has not been able to beat. So yeah, rooting for Birna here, but should be a good fight, man. What else do we have? Leon Edwards is fighting Carlos Prates, UFC 322 on November. So Prates coming off that knockout of the year contender with that spinning elbow against Jeff Neal, against Leon Edwards coming off that like rough loss against Sean Brady. Basically Leon here getting a complete opposite style of matchup that he did against Brady. Instead of like this stocky unrelentless wrestler, he has practice with like a very long, exclusively a striker pretty much. But the thing with practice, very good takedown defense. It's not going to be easy for Leon to take him down there. Very interested to see how they play out in the clinch because both guys are very very good in the clinch. This is another Southpaw versus Southpaw, and I feel like both guys are like very well equipped to deal with a fellow Southpaw here. So it's a very cool fight. Not big fan of the matchmaking here. I feel like Leon. I get it. Like Leon's former champion, but with how rough he looked against Brady, I feel like he should have gotten an easier matchup here. And Prates is coming on fire, man. If Prates wins here, like maybe title shot. I've been talking a lot about title shots here, but cannot lie, man. I feel like it should be deserved. I know he lost to Ian Gary, so Ian Gary should be in front of him in the line for a title shot. But who knows? Who knows how things play out if Prates wins here? If Leons wins here, it's a huge rebound, especially if he manages to beat Prates in a like more convincing fashion than Ian Gary did. So yeah, this was the fight that I was talking about. I kind of knew about this. Uh, Zhang Weili is moving up to flyweight. She's vacating her title and she's challenging Valentina Shevchenko for the flyweight championship. This is going on at UFC 322 on November. This will be the co-main event and huge fight, huge fight. Very interested to see how Weili deals with Valentina here. I feel like this version of Valentina that is older, a bit less dynamic, more fragile. I think it's I feel like kind of a good matchup for Weili. I feel like Prime Valentina would be way more difficult, obviously, but I feel like the ways in which Valentina has been decaying like plays straight into Weili's strengths. And we'll see how they match up physically. I feel like Valentina, one of the best athletes that we've seen in women's MMA, has lost quite a big step here. And we have Wei Li, who is other of the best athletes that we ever seen in the sport, moving up a weight class. So she will be dealing with a bigger Valentina. We'll see if Whaley like shows up bigger. A lot of interesting questions about this one, but this is like a big fight, man. I like it. I like it, especially after Shevchenko cleared the test of Manon Fiorot, which I think a lot of people were expecting to be like a passing of the torch moment. Was not the case. So we'll see if Wei Li becomes a double champion, especially because she's shooting for this double championship after being a dominant champion in the weight class below, something that we usually don't see. And we'll see when we have another fight that we will be talking about, and it's this one because this one we knew that it was happening, but we finally have a date, and it's in that same event. Champion Jack Della Maddalena will defend his welterweight champion against former lightweight champion Islam Makhachev at UFC 322. Just a great fight. The same, kind of the same. I think like Whaley a more dominant champion than. I mean, not that Islam has had trouble, but he has not faced like other than like Charles Oliveira, I guess. Like he has not been facing like the top of the division. I mean, the lightweight is a bit of a mess. But yeah, Islam vacated his title. We have Ilias, the champion now at lightweight, and he's trying to get the welterweight champion of newly crowned champion Jack Della Maddalena with his fantastic one of the best performances of the year against Belal Mohammed to get the title. Very interested to see because Makhachev is more of a like clinch takedown guy. So we'll see how he deals with Jack Della, who is quite a bit bigger than him, man. Jack Della is a big welterweight. He's very physically strong. Um, Jack Della also has some familiarity with, um, I mean, not himself, but his coach, his jiu-jitsu coach, um, because they share the coach with. I'm blanking on the name of this guy, man, the jiu-jitsu guy, with Volkanovski, right? And Volkanovski seemed very well prepared for the grappling tactics of Makhachev. And Jack Della will have access to that on top of being a lot bigger because, like, remember, like Volkanovski, former featherweight, now Jack Della, like a real welterweight here. We'll see how Islam looks. We'll see the speed of Islam moving up a weight class. Maybe he looks a lot quicker. Obviously, Islam a southpaw here. Jack Della very comfortable fighting out of both stances. Very very cool fight, man. I like it a lot. Completely blanked on the name, man. Almost said like Gordon Ryan, which is like completely wrong there. Walter Walker is fighting Mohamed Usman at UFC Rio on October 11th. Um, I thought Walter Walker was supposed to fight Ryan Spann. I don't know what happened with that. I feel like Mohamed Usman is like exactly the kind of guy that gets heel hooked. But I guess he will be doing a full training camp of defending leg locks. I guess. And Walter Walker a lot bigger than Mohamed Usman. Like Mohamed Usman is jacked. He's like kind of huge, but he's like frame wise, he's not a super big welterweight. I mean heavyweight. And Walter Walker is like big, man. So interesting to see how this fight plays out if Walker is not able to get the leg locks. Also, like Walker is before being like the leg lock guy, he was like the guy who shoot double legs. That was like his whole thing. And Mohamed Usman a pretty decent wrestler. So that's interesting too. Oh, I have those reversed here. I'm sorry, I showed the picture there. Yeah, so let's talk about this one. I think I lost that one. Where do I have this? Okay, I don't have it. So I lost my notes here. But yeah, Carlos Diego Ferreira is fighting Alexander Hernandez. Cool matchmaking. Hernandez coming off that big win against Chase Hooper, that knockout. And Ferreira coming off a loss against Grant. But before that, he looked fantastic against Rambetsky. So I'm interested to see the approach here by Hernandez. Uh, Carlos Diego Ferreira very hard to wrestle if you're not like a dedicated wrestler, and he's a good striker, man. So maybe this looks like it's going to be a good fight, to be honest. Okay, we have another short notice one for this weekend. Axel Sola, current RS champion, is fighting Reese McKee. We'll be talking about that when we cover the event. This one is big for the flyweight division. Erin Blanchfield is fighting Tracy Cortez at UFC 322 on November, the same event of the two like big title fights. Um, yeah, this one is big. It's big because like Blanchfield, other than losing like pretty bad to Figueroa, has been looking very good and has been winning like all the fights. And Tracy Cortez has been improving a lot. Um, I feel like this will be like a scrappy fight. Probably plays out on the feet. I think like Tracy's maybe the better wrestler here and Blanchfield the better grappler, but I feel like this one is probably going to play out on the feet, and both girls have been like turning into into better strikers lately. I think both showed up the hell up against Rose Namajunas. Blanchfield like taking the few last rounds. Tracy Cortez doing the same, despite coming in short notice, but not doing it enough to win the fight. But yeah, I mean, like, people forget Tracy Cortez, very good, like, round 4 and 5 against Rose Namajunas. Blanchfield obviously started, like, taking over the fight from round 3. It's a cool fight. I like it a lot. And another one with, like, maybe with title fight implications here. Gabriel Bonfim Majetinha is fighting Randy Brown at UFC Rio, so they're like packing the Brazilians there in the UFC Brazil event, and obviously, right? I'm guessing the UFC did not think a lot of that win of Bonfim over Wonderboy because they are not like stepping him up the rankings like super fast. He's taking like a step sideways here against a tough matchup in Randy Brown here, so we'll see. Bonfim very good leg kicks though, and he has a front headlock game. Maybe he can look to replicate a bit of what Luke did to Randy Brown back in the day. Jonathan Mikalev is fighting Oban Elliott at UFC Perth, so Mikalev gets to be the hometown boy in Australia. I mean, I know he's not from Perth, but you know what I mean. Um, Mikalev, this fight's interesting because I did not think a lot of Mikalev when watching tape on him before his debut, but he looked actually like pretty good in his debut against Usyk. He's very big and he has like very good attributes. Owen Elliott was also someone that I was not very big on, but then he started looking like great, and then he looked very bad in his last fight against Korean Tyson. So we'll see if Owen Elliott is able to like bounce back here in enemy turf, or if Mikalev will like take his place in the division. What else? What else? Jake Matthews is fighting Neil Magny at that very same event. This fight, I'm not a very big fan. It feels like winner here is not going anywhere. I feel like the UFC just using these guys to like build up to either like fight like fellow old guys or just build up the younger talent. But it's all right. I guess Jake Matthews being the younger guy, being the local guy, could make something happen with a big win here. It would be very embarrassing. I mean, not that Neil Magny is bad now; he's still pretty solid. But yeah, Jake Matthews, if he wants to like do something in the welterweight division, he very needs to win this one. This one is a banger, absolute banger. Charles Jourdain is fighting Davy Grant at UFC Vancouver on October 18th. Um, great fight. Jourdain looked very good in his bantamweight debut against Victor Henry. Sucks that we haven't seen him again since then. And David Grant just coming off that big win against Damon Blackshear. Uh, I mean, I feel like both guys coming off like big wins, and the UFC is like, okay, we're going to just push one of you. So they're making them fight each other. But the winner here might get like a big fight on the man and white division. This one is like kind of a big fight. I feel for the division. Obviously, like we know David Grant is super old, but he still looks great. Jourdain coming off 145 when he was like a certified action fighter, probably once has like title aspirations here, dropping down to bantamweight. It's a very solid fight. It's going to be very exciting. This one is going to like bring the action for sure, man. These guys do not have boring fights. And finally, we have Drew Dover, who is fighting Kyle Prepolek. For those of you that don't remember, Kyle Prepolek, the guy who took on Benoit Saint Denis on very short notice. He's from Canada. He's fighting again on Canada in the UFC Vancouver event. Big step down for Drew Dover. Not that Prepolek is like super bad. Prepolek was not fighting the best level of competition since leaving the UFC for the last time, but he looked pretty solid on the feet against Saint Denis, to be honest. So this one is probably going to be like a good action fight. We'll see how shot Drew Dover is. And with that, we get to the event that we have this Saturday I cannot speak at all, man. But yeah, we have the UFC is back in France. We have Imavov versus Caio Borralho. That's our main event. Nasruddin Imavov coming off that huge win against former champion Israel Adesanya. He's fighting Caio Borralho, who has not seen action since his war with Jared Cannonier. A win that they have in common here, right? A very interesting fight, and like I've been talking about this fight because like I feel like the UFC wants to put the winner of this for the title. But now that Hamzat is the champion, and we have another like huge fight between Fluffy and Renner the Reader, it's very interesting to see who's going to get the title shot. So I feel like it's not for granted here. The winner here needs to win big, I feel. So if Imavov and Kayo, they need to like make a statement here if they want the title shot, because they could get their spot taken by the winner of Fluffy versus RDR, man. But yeah, it's a very solid fight. Imavov um, knows how to do everything, to be honest. Has been improving the boxing, the power in his hands, but he's a very solid wrestler. I'm very interested to see how Borralho approaches this one. Borralho showed like a new level of depth to his striking against Cannonier. I am very interested to find out if Borralho is going to look for takedowns here, or what the deal is going to be. Imavov is a fighter that can fight out of both stances. Borralho is a natural orthodox that fights southpaw because he just likes the open stance, just like pulling people into check hooks and attacking the open side. So it's a cool fight. It's a very cool fight. Co-main event has Benoit Saint Denis against Mauricio Hufi. So Saint Denis finally bounced back after those rough losses against Dustin Poirier and Renato Moicano in the fight against Prepolek that I just talked about. And he's facing off against like rising star fellow fighting nerds teammate of Caio Borralho, Mauricio Hufi, coming off that huge knockout, a wheel kick against Bobby Green. So big step up in competition. I'm guessing for the winner of this one, probably looking for a main event or a main card in a pay-per-view. But like just like getting to the top of the division with a win here, especially Hoofy, who I feel like he gets another huge knockout, he's going to get pushed to the top out of the after this one. We have also Modestas Bukauskas against Paul Craig here. Not much to say about this one. I feel like Bukauskas should clear. Paul Craig back at 205. I feel like it's maybe a better division for him. Not quite sure. But yeah, Bukauskas is like has solid takedown defense. He works with solid big guys. He trains with Tom Aspinall and that team. I feel like he's not getting taken down, and he's like the superior striker. So I think Bukauskas should win here. We have a way better fight in Bolaji Oki versus Mason Jones. Mason Jones came back to the UFC. I think he should have never been caught in the first place, to be honest. But yeah, he came back in that fight against Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens showed the fuck up in that fight. But Mason Jones, when the striking was getting rough, he just took Jeremy Stephens down and went like that. Oki came to the UFC after a big win over a very decorated kickboxer in Contender Series. Has his up and downs. He got guillotined by Chris Duncan, but Chris Duncan looking very solid as of late, so that loss like aging kind of well. But yeah, this one is going to be a banger for sure, man. Love this fight. Oki versus Jones, like put your markers on that one. So Axel Sola, current RS lightweight champion, I think. I mean, yeah. He moving up to welterweight to fight Rhys McKee here. I'll be honest, I haven't seen this guy fight, but it seems like he's a pretty decent favorite here, so maybe he's good. Rhys McKee is solid, like he gets some hate, but I think he's solid, so we have a good fight here. This one is big. Patricio Pitbull is fighting Losen Keita. Keita double champ in, is it Octagon? Yeah, he's a double champ in Octagon. Featherweight and lightweight champion, moving down back to featherweight to fight Patricio Pitbull. Obviously, very famous for being a double champion in Bellator, lightweight and featherweight champion as well. Pitbull finally got his UFC win against Dan Ige not long ago. He gets a striker here in Keita. I'll be talking about Keita in a video that I'm planning to release maybe today, hopefully. I'll be working hard on that, so look out for that. William Gomez is fighting Robert Ruchala. So yeah, Gomez took a loss and he's now like taking big steps down in the division. Uh, Ruchala is like current KSW champion. I will not anymore, but he was the interim featherweight champion in KSW, and now he steps in to fight in the UFC. He has a loss to Saladin Parnasse, for whatever it's worth. Other than that, he has been undefeated in his career. I'm not familiar with his game, to be honest. Umar C is trying to bounce back after losing for the first time in his career against Alonso Manyfield. And he's fighting Brenson Hibero, who is also coming off a loss against the professional Mursakanov. Solid fight. I think that this is the like a very slight step down, but if someone has like the big potential that the UFC thinks Umar C has, I think you should not take it as easy, especially because like heavyweight is so shallow. So I think this is good matchmaking. Marcin Tibura is back in action, and he's fighting Ante Delija, the Croatian, who he was not champion in. Oh yeah, he was. He was a PFL champion, tournament champion on 2022, and since then he has a loss to Valentin Moldavsky. Not too bad. So we'll see how he fares against Tibura here. Kawe Fernandez is fighting Harry Hardwick. So Harry is the smaller of the Hardwicks. He's the featherweight one. He's the current Cage Warriors featherweight champion. So he's moving up a division to fight Kawe Fernandez. The Hardwicks are very fun to watch. They go to the body a lot. They pressure. They fight at a pace. They do a lot of stuff in the clinch too. They're very good. His brother had a chance in Contender Series and sadly lost. Hopefully he gets a fight in the UFC in the near future as well. But yeah, what's concerning about this fight is that Kawe is like big and he's athletic and he's a super hard kicker. So that can be, especially moving up a weight class, a complicated matchup for Harry here. I'll see if I find the time to do a little video on Harry Hardwick too. Just something like short. Sam Patterson is fighting Trey Waters in a fight between like lanky tall guys. Those are usually very violent, so I'm looking forward to that one. Brad Tavares is fighting Robert Brishuk. Solid fight at middleweight, not much to say. Rinat Fakhretdinov is fighting Andreas Gustafsson, the guy with the sketchy tattoos. Just say that. So Fakhretdinov is being like super hated because he has been winning a lot of super sketchy decisions. And for me, this is his chance at redemption if he can win like for real here. Gustafsson just like pushes to the clinch like a madman. He's actually very solid inside the clinch, but he doesn't have like much striking at all at distance. Fakhretdinov is like a good wrestler and a good striker, so I think like Fakhretdinov has like quite a few advantages here. The thing is that Rinat kind of gasses, and Gustafsson doesn't, so that's kind of a risky fight if it goes long. And the opener is Shauna Bannon against Sam Hughes. I like Sam Hughes. I really hope she can work like Shauna Bannon here over 3 rounds. And yeah, that would be the event. It's a very solid one actually. I like a lot of fights here. Fakhretdinov versus Gustafsson is kind of intriguing. Patterson versus Trey Waters is going to be action. We have the debut of Hardwick. What else we have? Patricio Pitbull versus Keita, huge. Oki versus Mason Jones, guaranteed action. And the co-main and the main event are very, very solid. So yeah, looking forward to this one. This is going on Saturday. For me, this is starting at 12 p.m. So these are way earlier than usual. I'll be doing Fight Companion as always. And that would be the podcast, guys. Remember to subscribe. Leave a comment here. and go to the store, get your Volley Punching Crew merch. Let's go. And yeah, thank you so much for your support, guys. Catch you later. Watch out for the Keita video, maybe Hardwick video, and for sure Fight Companion or Saturday. What? Blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much for get. I cannot speak. I cannot speak at all, man. I gotta get out of here. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.